Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video we're going to be doing a holiday inspired sort of green natural smoky eye, the look that I'm wearing on my face right now. And for this look we're going to be using the Urban Decay Born To Run palette, specifically this green color here. Now I had a request from one of you guys to use this green color in a holiday look. This is one of the colors, although it was one of the colors that first attracted me to this palette in the first place, it's one of the colors that I've had a little bit more difficulty working with. But with that said, from the time I started this makeup tutorial to the finished look, I absolutely fell in love with this color. I think this is the first time that I really kind of got this color to really work for me. So if you guys are interested in seeing how I got this green sort of holiday smoky eye, then let's go ahead and jump right into it. Alright guys, so here we are, barefaced. We're going to start with our eyes first because this shade definitely does give me a little bit of fallout. Now, I want to say a couple of things about this specific shade from this palette before we get started. Now, I adore this palette, and one of the first shades that really caught my attention in this palette was actually that green right there. This green reminds me of like a Christmas green. I just think it's a beautiful, earthy, natural looking kind of green. But I want to just swatch this color for you guys, and this is kind of what I find to be the trouble with it. So when I put out my finger, you can see it right there. It looks beautiful and vibrant, very, very green. But then as soon as I swatch it, I get a lot of, it turns kind of to a gray. So this green has a bit of a gray, kind of charcoaly sort of base. So the more that you kind of start to blend it out, you lose a lot of the green and you're left with a lot of the gray. That may not necessarily be a bad thing for everyone because a lot of people don't want to put a very vibrant green onto their eyes. I'm going to do a little bit of a comparison here. So my Juvia's Place palette here, these greens to me in the pan look almost identical to one another. You can see them right here. But this green, I will show you guys. There it is on the finger, beautiful, vibrant, but when I swatch this green, you can see how much of that green is kind of left, where this is definitely more of like an olivey, sort of grayish toned green, whereas the Juvia's Place green is much more of just a standard, like Christmas tree kind of green. It's a very beautiful, shimmery green. Both of them are beautiful, but they are very different. So for me, I think the problem has been my expectation. This is not a green that's going to look like exactly like this on my eye. I have to kind of come to terms with the fact that this is more of an olivey, softer, kind of hard to recognize as a green on the eyes. But we are going to go ahead and use this today. I'm going to try and get as much kind of punch out of this green as I can and hopefully kind of just demonstrate for you guys what it can do. So with that explanation out of the way, let's go ahead and jump right into the eyes. So I'm going to start off by taking a little bit of Tarte Shape Tape. This one is in the color, it's way too light for me. This is the color Fair. I basically only use this as an eye primer on occasion, especially when I want to really kind of blank out my eyelids. Now I'm going to set that primer in place with just a little bit of the Rimmel Stay Matte powder. So I want to start off by going in with this orange right here. This is the color Baja, one of my favorite shades in this palette. Beautiful, beautiful, vibrant, buttery orange. It's so beautiful. I love this color. If you're someone that's afraid of orange, just take the tiniest bit on your brush, and if you just apply this, I'll kind of show you guys today. This is not going to be like a intense, noticeable orange. We want it to be nice and soft, so I'm just taking the smallest bit. I'm actually tapping a little bit off right onto this random place on my hand. And I'm just going to throw this right slightly above my crease area. It's just going to kind of warm things up a little bit. You can definitely see just the intensity of that color, but remember, we're covering a lot of this up, so it's not going to stay that intense. Alright, so now we're going to dip into the green color. We're going to start kind of softly applying this first, and then we'll kind of pack it on towards the end. So we're going to go into Wanderlust. I'm going to take this Luxie, what is this brush called? Mini angled brush, and we're just going to kind of build that up a little bit on this outer portion of the eye. Gosh, that is pretty though. And I kind of just stick with that outer third of my eye and just really kind of work in that area. Okay, I kind of take back what I said. I actually think that's beautiful. It's definitely a soft green, but I definitely see some green in there. Try that out. If you have this palette and you've maybe experienced the same thing where you feel like that green's just not that green on your eye, try popping a little bit of that orange into your crease or your transition area, and maybe it will help kind of bring out that green a little bit, because I definitely feel like that's what I'm seeing right now. So I think I'm going to go ahead and cut my crease right now. I say cut my crease, guys. I don't really know how to properly do a cut crease. But basically we're just going to apply a little bit of concealer to the inner portion of our eye to make sure that the color we put on top really kind of stands out and pops. So I'm just going to take a tiny bit of my Shape Tape on the back of my hand. And then I'm going to take this little brush. This is by Morphe. It came in a kit, but I'm sure you guys are familiar with these kind of concealer type of brushes. You really can use anything similar to this. And I'm going to start on this eye. We're just going to kind of start from the inner corner, packing that on, and then pulling it in right kind of below that kind of fold in my eye right there. Kind of end right at the center. My daughter just got in from playing in the snow. I'm sure that she's freezing. Your kids play in the snow and they're really little, and then they come inside and they're so cold that they hurt. Oh, and you're so sad because they just don't understand, like, what's going on? Why are my hands burning? So now we're going to dip into this shade right here. This is the color Stranded, another one of my favorite colors in here. I know I keep saying that, but I really love this one, especially if you have small eyes. This is a very good brightening, reflective, shimmery, beautiful kind of inner corner, inner third of the lid kind of shade. So I'm just taking a little bit of that just on my pointer finger. We're just going to kind of start patting it right on top of where we put that concealer down. And I like to go about halfway across the lid. And then we'll kind of come back and we'll sort of blend that little edge together right there where you can see those colors kind of. So now I just want to kind of try and build up a little bit more of that green color just right on that outer kind of corner of the eye. And then we'll kind of work on blending things together. So I'm going to go into Wanderlust again, and I'm going to take this kind of flat shader brush from Alamar Cosmetics. We're just going to kind of start packing that right in this outer corner right here. And I'm trying to keep this concentrated below this crease area that we kind of already blended a little bit. I want this underneath my crease area, just right on the outer portion of my lid. Okay, so now I feel like we're getting some pretty good green color payoff. Now I'm going to go back into that initial brush. Really, you could use any smaller type of blending brush. I'm just going to take this right along that edge, and we're just going to kind of buff back and forth that little edge right there. And again, I don't want to go over onto that color that I just packed on because we'll knock some of that vibrant green off. We want to keep that there, so we're just going to kind of blend very small motions just right here on that line. Alright, so now I do want to add just a tiny bit more depth to my outer corner, but I want to do it very carefully because again, I don't want to knock all of that green color off. So I'm going to go into this shade right here. This is called Good Is Gone. This is kind of a satin brown, but it has a little bit, it also has a bit of a charcoal kind of undertone to it. You can see if I kind of like blend that color out, you can see it's a little bit more of like a cool sort of charcoaly toned brown, which actually I think works really well with this green color. So we're going to take that on my Morphe M507 brush, just that really small pointed blending brush. I think I talked about this in my favorites video. I've been loving this brush. It gives me a lot of like creative opportunities that I didn't have before when I didn't have such a small blending brush. So we're going to take this and I'm just going to kind of place that right on the outside of kind of where I packed that green on, just to add a little bit of depth. And we're just working in really small, kind of like back and forth, sort of circular motions. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to clean up that line just a little bit. So I'm just going to take, I have a little bit of micellar water here. I'm just going to take that right here under my lash line and just kind of pull outwards very softly, just to kind of clean up any fallout that we might have gotten under there. This is definitely going to give you kind of a sharp line, which I don't love a sharp line, but when we work on our lower lash line, we'll kind of be able to bring back some of that softness. Okay, so I'm going to move into the rest of my face, and then we'll come back and finish off with the eyes. So today I'm using my Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation. I'll just kind of dot it on my face a little bit. And with my IT Cosmetics brush, I'm just going to kind of tap that in. So I hope that this look was a little bit different than the one that I did in my Urban Decay video. I kind of feel like it might have been almost the exact same look. Honestly, there's sometimes that I do my makeup, especially on camera, and when I'm editing back, I feel like, that looks an awful lot like what I did last time, and the time before that. Just kind of think you get kind of set in your ways when it comes to your makeup. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that it's good to kind of stick with what you know and what makes you comfortable, but I'm sorry if it's boring for you guys. Alright guys, so moving on to concealer. Today I'm going to use my Cosmetics Bye Bye Undereye. So I'm going to take just a little bit of this one. I have it in the color Light Nude, and I'm just going to kind of start tapping it on my under eye area. So I like to make sure that I don't get my concealer, okay, I totally just did get my concealer too close. You want to be careful not to get your concealer too close to this line right here, because sometimes if you press here, it's going to move a little bit above where you're actually tapping it sometimes. So kind of go below where that line is, just so you don't get that concealer to go up into your eyeshadow. Some people love doing their eyes first, and this is actually the very reason that I prefer to do my eyes last, because I sometimes really struggle to get coverage right here, because here's the thing guys, I have hyperpigmentation right here, and I also have very red, a lot of redness right there next to my eye, so I have a difficult time getting concealer there without messing up my eye makeup. So that's one of the reasons I prefer typically to do my eyes last. But it's definitely a dilemma when you're dealing with a shadow that has fallout, because I also don't want to get fallout onto my concealer, so I don't know. Sometimes I feel like can't win, huh? Now I'm going to do my eyebrows. I'm going to use my Chella Eyebrow pencil. This came in a BoxyCharm a couple of months ago, I think back in like August or something. I do like this product. I find the packaging is actually really convenient, but here's the thing guys, if an eyebrow product doesn't have a spoolie, I won't reach for it very often, because I have to have a spoolie, and sometimes I just don't like the bother of trying to track down my spoolie. Not that it's usually that far away, but I don't know, I just like a product that has a spoolie attached to it already. Because I am all about convenience. I do like this eyebrow product though. I think the color is really nice. I like the brush. It's really easy to apply. And to kind of set those in place, I'm just going to take my e.l.f. brow wax, and I'm just going to kind of apply a little bit of that right on top. This is definitely not like a lock your brows in place all day long kind of product, but for the most part my brows are not too finicky about moving around too much, so whoops. This seems to work pretty good for me. So let's move on to the lower lash line, and then we'll finish off with the rest of the face. So to do that, I'm going to start off by going into that initial orange kind of shade. We're going to put just a tiny bit of this down there. I'm going to take that on a Luxie mini flat angled brush. Just lightly going to take that from right here, kind of almost underneath that upper corner. We're going to kind of go down about halfway across. So now I'm going to take the green, and we're going to take that on a flat liner brush. This is the Alamar Cosmetics liner brush. So I'm going to kind of just place that almost on the side of it. You can see just not right on the tip, but more kind of on the side, just a little bit. And we're going to start just kind of pressing that right against the lashes there. And this one I'm only going to pull in about a third to a half of the way in. Kind of connect it up to that line up top. So now I'm just going to go ahead and put on a little bit of sort of winged liner. I'm going to use my Maybelline Eye Studio, just black gel liner, and this little Essence flat liner brush. I'm going to pop on some liner, a little bit of mascara, and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, so here we are with the liner and mascara. I love how this eye look turned out. Let's move on to the rest of our face. I'm going to start off by going in with my No7 Bronzer. This one's in the color Maple, and I'm just going to start kind of warming up my face a little bit. This is a really good bronzer that I like to use, and I really want warmth to my face. It definitely is a warm bronzer, but it's not too orange, if that makes sense. To pull just a little bit down onto my very, very pale neck. And guys, December, things are starting to get really pale. So for blush today, I'm going to take my Bare Minerals blush in the color That Peach though. This is just a very nice, soft kind of orange. I love this blush. I love these blushes, period. I know I talked about them recently a few times, I think, but I just think they're fantastic. I'm taking that on this is a Cala brush. I actually picked this up at Marshall's. I actually really love it. These brushes are really, really soft. I do think they were a little bit pricey for Marshall's. Does anybody else ever go into Marshall's and you expect everything to be like $5 to $7, and anytime something's like $9 to $10, you think, oh boy, that's a little high. That's kind of how I feel when I go into Ross or Marshall's or TJ Maxx. So for highlighter today, I'm going to take this guy. This is the Stilla Heaven's Hue highlighter. I talked about this recently in a video, and I talked about how I didn't really love it. Okay, I changed my mind, guys. I actually do love this highlighter. It's a very natural highlighter, but if you put it on the right way, which by the way, I'm finding to be with my finger, I find that's the easiest and most effective way to put this thing on. I really think it's beautiful. It's one of those highlighters that kind of makes your skin look very glossy, and it's a very natural looking highlighter. If you have texture on your skin, I think you will love this highlighter. I have it in the color Brilliance. Okay, and so last thing, my lips. So all I'm going to do for my lips today, I'm going to start off by going in with this Wet n Wild lip liner. This one's in the color Bear to Comment. And then I'm going to top that off with the NYX Butter Gloss in the color Madeline. This is just a nice kind of brownie peach. Alright guys, and this is the completed look. I love how this one turned out. This is the perfect look for those of you that just like a hint of kind of barely there color. I feel like this is the perfect look. It's a little bit Christmassy, it's a little bit glam, it's a little bit smoky without being too over the top. I love it. I think it turned out great. Let me know what you guys thought of this one. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure if you are new that you subscribe to my channel before you leave so you don't miss out on my future videos. And thank you guys so much for stopping by. I hope that you guys are having a great day, a great week. I hope that you guys are having fun getting ready for the holidays. I certainly am. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.